Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning. I don't know why it's on me right now.
The dual cam messed up.
Good morning. Welcome to Inside the Game.
Sorry, Nate's still here. The dual cam messed up.
I don't know what that means, how the dual cam messed up, but we're welcoming number 177. I'm trying to figure out what.
There we go.
Our producer. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
The dual cam was not there.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's something. Welcome back in, everybody, to Inside the Game here on this Friday morning, October the 10th. Here we're just 21 days away from Halloween. So if that's one of your favorite holidays, I can say that my family thoroughly enjoys Halloween. Me, not so much, but to each their own. But I'm Jonathan Turner. That's Nathan Wangler. Ryan Glinsky, our producer. We've got a good show lined up for you here this morning. We are live right now. Everywhere. TikTok, we are on Roku TV, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter and Facebook. And so if you want to tune in anywhere, doesn't really matter. Watch anywhere. But anyways, we're excited to have you being a part of the show here this morning. We've had a great week getting away from all the guests from last week and the week before that. I think we had like close to 20 interviews over a 2-week period. So we've had a chance to take a break from that. Reminder that we will not be here next week. We will be taking the week off as we have the NISA Pro Cup tournament kicking off here on Monday here at 9 a.m. So we'll be bringing that to you live on all of our platforms. So, on Roku and some of all of our social media as far as how we post then. But yeah, so anyways, we are excited to have you to be here this morning. We have a great show this morning. We're going to talk about the U.S. men's national team. They're taking on Ecuador here tonight. Kicks off at 8:30, I believe, Eastern, down in Austin, Texas. So we'll get into that. The U.S. youth national team, U20s, are rocking and rolling right now. 3-0 win yesterday over Italy in the round of 16. So, I mean, we'll talk about that. We'll dive in. Hey, Pochettino's had some great quotes as well here. He's becoming quite the character when it comes to quotes as it leads up here to the World Cup. So we'll dive into that this morning. Before we do that, though, before we dive into that, there's a very important game happening tonight as well. It's not soccer. It's not football. It's not hockey.
Volleyball?
It's not volleyball.
Rugby?
Not rugby.
Lacrosse?
Definitely not lacrosse.
Pickleball.
Curling. It could be curling. It is. Isn't it like curling night in Canada, or is that not? It's hockey night in Canada.
Hockey night in Canada.
So, isn't curling the second?
Well, the Red Wings did get killed yesterday.
I feel like curling is a pretty good sport. But anyways, baseball. Detroit Tigers, Game 5, Seattle Mariners. It's tonight. And I'm going to come right now and say this. This is what I'm saying right now. Tigers win tonight.
Whoa.
They win. They're going to the ALCS for the first time. I think since, 2010? When was the last time they went?
14.
Was it 14? 14?
I think.
14,
So there you go. They're going. They're going.
That's not a ridiculous statement. You have the best pitcher in baseball on the mound in Game 5. Like the AJ Hinch said it the other day during the media presser. He's like, it's the easiest decision in all sports. You hand the ball to the best pitcher in baseball going into an elimination game on the road in Seattle, which, by the way, is his hometown. That's where he's from. So you feel like for someone like Tarek Skubal, who really was a one Division I offer coming out of high school, someone that had to grind his way into the professional ranks. Even then, he was a late round pick. He wasn't necessarily a top prospect. I mean, he was a big, strong lefty. So, I mean, you'll take him as a major league organization, see what you can get out of him. But what he's turned into is something completely beyond anyone's wildest expectations. Like, Tarik Skubal is that hidden gem that every single general manager, owner, whatever is looking for. You know, he's the guy that you snag in the double digit rounds that turns out to be someone who etches his name into the Hall of Fame at some point. You go, yeah, I discovered that guy. Well, the Tigers discovered him, but they didn't just discover him, they developed him. And he is the pinnacle of what we've seen from this organization over the last 3-4 years, which is an advanced knowledge of how to develop good pitching, because they have done it. And they've done it with players that don't necessarily write headlines a lot of times, but Skubal has become the best pitcher in all of baseball. And Paul Skeens, I'm sure, will eventually take over that spot. I think he's the greatest pitcher that I've ever seen in my generation, at least from a true, just raw talent perspective. But handing the ball off to the best pitcher in baseball in a Game 5 situation, I mean, that's you couldn't have asked for a better outlook for tonight for the Tigers. I mean, you really only have to put a couple across in order to really help him out. Yeah, did he give up a home run his first time around? Sure, but he's still the best. So that I agree with AJ. That's the easiest decision you could potentially make as a manager in that spot. Easiest.
The question becomes, right, because, you know, as we've talked about this a lot, right, and it happened last year with the Detroit Lions, right? What did they have? You know, they won their division, and they were the number 1 seed, so they had that first round bye, right? And how much did that play a factor into their loss? Now, we could argue that maybe because of how the defense was and all that kind of stuff, that they were destined to probably lose that game against Washington. But there's something to be said about losing momentum, right? There's something to be said about that. Now, the Blue Jays, they're sitting right now. They're done. They beat the Yankees 3-1 in a series. You know, they don't have a game tonight, and so they're going to have a little more rest than the Tigers, you know, or whoever, or Seattle. Does that play a factor in the ALCS, at least in Game 1? Does that play a factor in baseball as like it does in other sports, or is it not so much of a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, there can be a layover effect. There's always examples of layover effects in sports, and especially in baseball too, because you get into this groove where you're playing every single day, and sometimes that can help a team just like generate a certain sense of momentum. But I mean, also consider the fact that the Tigers are. I mean, that's 2 trips to the West Coast in 1 week. I mean, that's hard. That's really hard. I don't care what sport you play, and I don't care how used to travel you are or how well they treat you during those trips. Like going out west, okay? There's out west, all right? That's out west, all right? Seattle is far enough west that can be considered out west. That's truly out west.
Might even be considered the Northwest.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But travel takes a toll. So I mean, I think it kind of comes out in the wash when you look at it that way. I mean, it's not like the Tigers are playing a team that's relatively close. They have to go to Seattle twice in 1 week. So it that very well could play a role going into the next round. I think hangover effect does have a role, but I think depending on, you look at this situation specifically, I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have personally.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. I was just curious because, again, we look at it, momentum is a real thing. And if you can get on a roll, especially in a playoff run, you know, how much does taking that break, does that break matter? Or coming off that big win, right? When you ever come off a big win, like, hey, tonight, Game 5, that's a big win. No matter what team wins tonight, it's still a big win. A lot on the line. And what happens that next game that you play, right? Do you see that the hangover effect, right? Where you, again, you know, you have this great night, and now do you have anything left in the tank for that first game, right? And so, and obviously the ALCS goes into a 7-game series, not a 5 games, so there's more games to play, and ultimately to get that win. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We come back here. We're going to dive into the U.S. Youth National Team, the U20s, and what they're doing right now in the World Cup and how they beat Italy here 3-0. Do they have a chance of winning this whole thing? We'll talk about that here on the other side of the break.
all-out battle of skill, passion, and determination. The NISA Pro Cup, presented by the National Soccer Network. The stage is set, 10 teams, 8 days, 1 trophy, every moment, exclusively on Roku TV. It all kicks off October 13th on the National Soccer Network.
Welcome back here to Inside the Game, number 177. Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wangler and Ryan Glinsky. Well, maybe if he continues that whole start of our show, we might need a new producer.
It's fair.
That was
I've had fun
hilarious.
while I'm here.
Great.
On to the next.
Your face cutting in was the funniest part. I got to go back and see if we can.
I'm like,
snag
because
that
I'm
one.
sitting here, I'm waiting. We're in complete darkness. I'm not even on yet. He's like, I can't find the dual cam, our setup here. And all of a sudden it's on me. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was
that
there was no communication. It was.
I'll give myself this.
All right.
Yeah, that's my fault. I
It's
could.
okay.
I thought I had to do
All right,
again.
buddy.
I couldn't find it, and I was like, oh, jeez, because we had you. Everyone was on screen before show, and I was like, I just thought that it was in there anyway. But hey, we're good though.
R.I.P.
Hopefully that we probably lost like all of our viewers in that.
Probably
split
lost
5
about 6 or
seconds.
7 of them.
We may have lost 6 or 7 of them. You are correct. But
I-
that wasn't me. That was not me that time. I want the record to show that one was not me that time.
Dude. No, I think just so you know, Ryan, this is not a performance-based job, so you're fine. Okay, just
Thanks. Well, it looks like I'll be maybe
It
back
actually-
here next or 2 Mondays from now.
It
Maybe.
actually makes it a little more spicy. It adds a little flair to the show,
It
when you
does.
just
It
don't
adds
tell
yeah, it makes
JT and
me
the
look like a
camera's just
jackass.
on his face.
Well, with that being said, though, we want to dive into what happened here yesterday. U.S. Youth National Team, the U20s, are in the World Cup right now, and hey, in the round of 16, they beat Italy. So they beat France. Big, call that a signature win, right? I mean, you're beating France. Your Italy's signature win are these signature wins for these teams?
So from what I read and heard from the soccer elites, if you want to call it that, that this Italy team was not good, and they tied Cuba again. But again, Italy was down a man anyway, so they tied Cuba 2-2. They still scored a goal, and they gave up PKs. So I mean, I don't really want to make that game be like the measuring stick to what we had, but it's Italy. They're still going to be able to play, but at the same time, our 2 best prospects aren't on the field either, and that Matthias Albert, that being over in Dortmund, and Daniel Koshin, who was with the team, and then 3 or 4 days prior to it has to go back to Barcelona because that's his club, and Barcelona's having a goalie crisis at the moment in terms of health. But signature win, I wouldn't. I mean, maybe the France one. Again, France is a better side than Italy. But again, I don't know why people are kind of like, again, when it comes to the U.S., it feels like every time they kind of take that next step in terms of any sort of development, it's always like there's always a knock to it. There's always someone has to say something about it. Not a huge fan of it. But again, they won 3-0 against an Italy side in the round of 16. They're going to take on Morocco in the quarterfinals on Sunday. But again, signature win. I mean, sure, it's a signature win. You're beating France and Italy, and then New Caledonia is probably more of a signature win than these two, honestly.
And they beat
Yeah,
them
well-
9-1.
I was just kidding on that one, but
I was gonna say, it's like, okay. So you're saying maybe not. Okay, maybe signature wins, maybe not. Right. What we do know is that the U.S. Youth National Team, the U20s, have been the most consistent U20 programs globally. They have been to the quarterfinals 6 times in a row.
damn.
Right. And so you think about that, right? And the furthest they've ever gone in this World Cup is 4th place back in 1989. And so, hey, they get by Morocco, you make your way into a semifinal, then anything can happen. So you're 3 games away, right? You're not too far off, and you're talking about beating teams. I mean, it's not a terrible way of looking at this, but you're 3 wins away from a World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The signature win is winning it. Like that in my mind, or at least getting there. Like that's going to be the signature win for this team. but I agree with Ryan on the assessment of there seems to be this like there's two sides to it, right? There's the knee-jerk reaction from American fans who are watching this, who are like, "Oh my goodness, we're taking massive strides forward." When maybe Italy had some holes in their team, but on the other side, I always get sick of this conversation that we have after every single international match, where it's like, "Oh, well, this team didn't have these players, or they weren't the best of sides." I realize Italy finished behind Australia in the group, which is not a good look for a soccer powerhouse like Italy, even in the U20 ranks, but you can only assess what's on the field, because you're right. I mean, the Americans are also missing a couple of different key players on this team as well. So what do we assess? We assess what's on the field. We can only assess what's in front of us. Is it a signature win? No, but what I like out of this squad, and it really doesn't, I mean, it has everything to do with the way they're playing, yes, but it has more to do with, I think the mentality of this team has been really fun to watch. And Luke Brennan had another goal yesterday. I think it was his fifth. Right now, I think he's kind of the Golden Boot leader in the tournament right now. But his quote yesterday was really good. He talked about, quote, "I think we're a generation that isn't scared. We've played big teams, and we've pretty much beaten every team that we've played. We want to show that our development and our talent is high up there." Speaking of the United States and developing players. So I think this mentality of, and we've been begging for this, just players that are, dogs to say the least, just have that kind of edge to them. And right now it seems like this group has it. And obviously Luke Brennan's been playing amazing. And I thought yesterday they looked great as well, but is it a signature win? I mean, yeah, you beat Italy. I mean, that's cool. You get to hang your hat on that. But I think the big one for this team, with how consistent they've been and how good they looked in the group stage, and now with what they did last night, is to win the thing. That's the big win. Like, that's the moment where we can look at all this and go, okay, maybe we haven't arrived yet until we actually do something at the actual World Cup, but that's another massive step forward for the United States in the sport of soccer. But I think our development has gotten much better, and we've seen that.
It feels like it's like the Lions in a way. It's
Yeah,
it's
you
always,
get a big regular season win over like the Patriots or something, and all of a sudden it's like, we've arrived.
The goalpost is constantly being moved. Is what I was gonna get at is, from the Lions' perspective, it's last year. It's because he's got great. It's because Dan Campbell has great coordinators. That's simply what it is. And then this year it's the Ravens aren't really good anymore with Lamar Jackson. No, you kind of just went into Baltimore and won. Not many teams again do that. And then with the Chiefs, if they beat the Chiefs, it'll be the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs. And when they originally beat the Chiefs a couple of years ago, it was because Travis Kelce and Chris Jones weren't there. Like the goalpost is constantly being moved to the team or for the team, and then for the USA men's soccer, like at all, it's always even if we beat Ecuador tonight, it's Moises Caicedo, it's Hincapi wasn't there. It's because these players weren't playing. When they beat Japan, it's Matoma wasn't playing, Endo wasn't playing. Those teams weren't playing. They have to win. Like if the other team does not want to play their best players, it's not our fault. It truly isn't. You can only play who's on the field. And for the U.S., I'm sure the French best players were not there in terms of U20. I'm sure the Italian U20 best players weren't there. But that's what they have to go up against. It's not the USA fault. It's not the Lions' fault that these players are not there and they're injured. And if you want to go back from a Lions argument, the whole damn defense wasn't there last year, and they still won games.
Yeah. Well, and what's been the biggest issue is like their depth is better than our depth. Like, we've always said this on our show. Like, I'll take a B-list player from France or England or Italy or Germany or any of these places over an A-list player from the United States 99 times out of 100. And a lot of people would say that these countries, they just have more depth. They have a better culture. They develop better. Well, if that's the case, your backups your backups are still really good players. They didn't beat us. They lost 3-0. Same with France. I think that means something. But it's just easy for American fans to just get way too excited way too early. And I'm one of them. I'm guilty of that. I mean, people have called me out on that, for freaking out on social media about how the U.S. did in the Gold Cup once upon a time before the Mexico game. But, I still think it's an important win, and it's showing that at the very least, like, we're getting deeper as a country in this sport. Like, it's not like we just have our handful of really good players and then everybody else is just kind of a who's who of who cares. Like, we're actually developing solid, well-rounded, all-around players that are contributing consistently. So I think it's just another notch in the belt. Not to say that it's a be all end all kind of win.
Yeah, a couple things. One, I think that we as a culture have lost sight, and we talked about this yesterday in regards to winning at all costs and how important winning is. I think what we've done, and we're guilty of it, just like everybody else is guilty of it, is devaluing what a win is. I don't. Again, we do that. We start to question wins. Yeah. I heard Brian Kelly from LSU a couple weeks ago. He was doing a press conference, and that guy, as much as he might be a great coach, it's hard to like that guy. It really is. So,
family.
But anyways, he's up there, and he takes a question from a reporter about the type of their running game and some things like that, and he fires back, "Hey, we won." Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, you want to look at some of the things that we didn't do right, fine. But at the end of the day, we still won.
Yeah,
we still won. And here was what we do: we dissect wins as if somehow the win isn't enough.
That's fair.
Yeah, right. I mean, if the goal is to win, and again, I'm guilty of it. I've said it. I'm like, but I mean, it's totally fine to dissect wins, especially if you see some things that can ultimately cause you to lose games. But when you win, isn't winning enough? And I in our culture, clearly it is not. I would argue across the pond.
Style points.
Probably the same thing, right? You got Chelsea wins a game. It's ugly. Everyone's going, man, that was an ugly game. They should have lost that game, and they're all getting upset about it. But at the end of the day, a win is still a win. And so do we need to stop and take a step back in our roles and stop dissecting the win as much as we do and say, hey, the U.S. youth national team, the U20 team, just went out and they beat France, who's won a World Cup title in the past, and they won one. They beat Italy. They didn't do it. They did it handily.
Italy also won a World Cup.
You win 3-0.
Combined 6-0.
Yeah,
against the two.
Yeah, so it's like, and they scored 9 goals against one team. Now that's exactly what we've been asking in dominance is what we've been asking for from our senior team is a dominant victory, a decisive victory where you go in and go, man, they're playing Barbados. They should win 30-2. You know what I mean? And we go in and we only win by 1. Like that's the part that we're dissecting. But here, this team's actually winning pretty handily over nations that have top players. And when we say top players, you just mentioned this, Nate. You mentioned the fact that we would take a B team player from England on our roster on the U.S. men's national team over basically everybody in this country, right? And so here is France. These are their A team players in the 20 age group, right? The ones who obviously can't right now crack into that senior lineup in that level. And that's the best that country has to offer. And our best just beat their best. Again, combination of best and maybe second best, but our best just did that. And one game did it. Now, if they played them 10 times, maybe they lose 7. But they did it. And so I think it's important that we acknowledge the fact that they're 3 games away from winning a World Cup. And hey, they have yet to get past the quarterfinals since 1989. We know that. They're playing Morocco. I don't know Morocco. Is Morocco going to be a great competitive team? Like I don't know enough about that team to really understand if this is a tall task or not. But if they can continue to do what they're doing, I mean, we have an American who right now is leading the Golden Boot conversation right now in that tournament. I mean, you talk about that. I mean, I know we have a graphic for that too, right? He's gotten 5 goals so far in this tournament, leads the Golden Boot. I mean, it's an American in a World Cup. On the men's side, on the women's side, that comes to just be an expectation, right? That we're going to have a goalkeeper, a forward, a U.S. player going to go out there and get that Golden Boot. How many times have we seen that? Here we have an American who is in the running for the Golden Boot Award.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate, I'm also sorry. Kramashi also plays for Inter Miami, so I'm sorry about that.
Wait for what do you say? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, whatever.
But
I
you
got
guys,
my-
but
I
my,
got a
my
problem with
question that I
that.
put on this graphic is: do you take any stock out of this? A U20 American leading the World Cup in a Golden Boot. That's really the question. Is what I'm kind of
I think the first place you look to when you talk about are we catching up is the youth levels. I mean that's the first place that I always look. I mean, I know we were making drawing hockey examples the other day, but I mean that's kind of where it started for the United States. We started winning at U18, U19, U20s. We're beating Canada. We're beating Russia when Russia was competing in these things. Obviously, the world has changed since, but we're beating Sweden. We're doing these things. Our development continued to get better because we saw it at the younger levels, and eventually that translated up the ladder. And now you could say that in terms of hockey playing countries in the world, it's us and it's Canada. It's number 1 and number 2. So it is that way right now. Sweden's obviously in there, and there's other countries that still
Russia
do
would
really
be good
well.
if they were
but-
allowed to play.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that's the other side of it too, right? We
Fair.
got to remember that.
Fair.
But that's the first place you have to look is the youth levels in my mind. So it is a sign of good things that are coming on down the line. And I thought that quote was important because it shows the confidence of young American players now. Like that is like, we're not afraid. We've played the big dogs. We've beaten the big dogs. Now they've done it twice. They did it against France. They did it against Italy. Like there's a mentality shift in the younger generation, like the younger generation of American soccer players that is really inspiring to see. Like, it's not like this, we're just a bunch of misfits and we're going to go out and try to compete and just, bust our butt at the highest level. This all goes back to how education's gotten better, reffing's gotten better, everything's gotten better around the game. And now we're seeing the fruits of that play out with the younger players on this level. So that's what I take away from it. I mean, they still have work to do, but at the end of the day, if there's anything I would take away from it, that's probably it.
Yeah, I just want to. I think we need to reflect on the fact that we hold these teams, to a high level, expectations, and when they actually go out there and they perform as we would expect, and maybe even overperform, we should be giving them the credit that they deserve. And that's why I asked that question about a signature win, because, I mean, you're talking, again, round of state. I don't care. The high school soccer playoffs just started, and all across the state right now, there are high school teams that are far better than other teams that they're playing against. And some of them are going to lose.
Yeah.
Not because the other team was better than them, but on that specific night, they were, or they fell apart. And I think that's an important thing to say and to acknowledge. And it's one game, and you go home. In the group stage, anything's possible. Things can happen. You can even make a mistake and still go on, right? We saw them; they fell short in their last matchup at the group stage, but they still won the group, right? And so you have a misstep, and you can go. You can still continue to move forward. What's up, Brian?
So just last point about the U20 World Cup before we move on, and this is coming from a Chicago Fire writer, beat reporter, writes a whole bunch of stuff for the MLS. His name is Alex Calabrese, and I guess I didn't know this until I just saw this tweet moments ago. He said, best goalkeeper was withdrawn by his club, and that was Daniel Koshin for Barcelona. Best defender was not released for the tournament. Again, I don't recall who that is. Best midfielder is currently playing for Mexico, yet the U.S. U20s storm into the quarterfinals with all that being said. So, again, our best players aren't there as well at the U20 level. So, whatever they want to say about France, Italy not having their best, we don't even have our best, and yet we still find ways to win.
It's a great point. Hey, when we come back here from break, we are going to dive into the U.S. men's national team against Ecuador here tonight. We're also going to take a look at some quotes here that Pochettino had to say about this window here in the month of October. So all that and more here continues on number 177.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Welcome back here to Inside the Game. I'm in my Shelby Township studios here in Metro Detroit. Nathan Wengler is at his new digs right now in Grand Rapids, and Ryan Glinsky also here in studio. And we are excited to talk about this U.S. men's national team matchup here. Now, before we do that, though, I think it's important we probably dive into these quotes first because it's all about, what Pochettino's thinking will help us, I think, have a clear understanding.
It's like a constant live stream of his thoughts.
Huh?
It's like a constant live stream of his thoughts. He's just chatting
right?
all
it's
the time.
Like
I
he
like
have like AI just spitting things out into social media land for him or something like that. But let's take a look here what Pochettino had to say. Ryan, what do you have to say?
Oh yeah, so he said a couple of things
In his accent, please.
Friendly games are friendly games. No, friendly games are friendly games. It's difficult to put that situation as the World Cup, but we need to try. We need to challenge ourselves to be better and better. Ecuador and Australia are very good teams. They've already qualified for the World Cup. My expectation is always to compete better. Again, that's not very good English, but that's what he said. The World Cup is going to demand us to play our best. So, what do you guys think?
We've already talked about this probably a handful of times now. As much as I care about winning, which I do, I would forego winning in an October window, a November window, a January window, a February window, a March window,
April
if
window.
it means we get into a quarterfinal and a chance to play for a semifinal in the World Cup here on our home soil here in June. So, and I think that he shares that same sentiment. Preseason is about development, and we are right now in our preseason. And so right now he is trying to develop the system in which he will use in the World Cup and also eliminate players and solidify players who will be making this roster. Those are his three goals. Winning is fourth on that list. It might even be fifth, to be fair. And so,
or sixth or seventh.
Oh my geez. Yeah. It's like I just can't. The youth aspect. Go play for the U20 team, my guy. Go on, get out.
I can't. I can't. I'm 22.
Darn it. All right. So, but I as much as I want to see them win, we do want to see them develop, and we want to solidify the roster. Again, looking at the window for what it is, Ecuador and Australia are good teams. They're doing the exact same thing, by the way. These two teams are doing the exact same thing. They're trying to figure out their roster. They're trying to figure out what kind of style of play they're going to use here coming up in June. And they're going to do that in a friendly against the U.S. men's national team, who seems like they might not have all of their pieces, as we found out that Pulisic, was it Tyler Adams?
No, it was Pulisic, Anthony Robinson, and Zendejas who might not play today.
Who might not play today. So those are three important pieces who have, for the better part of, Robinson didn't play in the last window.
No, he didn't. He's still not even fully healthy, which makes no sense. I don't even know why he's on the roster right now, to be completely honest.
Well, get him in there maybe. Again, you get him in there and you start to maybe have him be part of the team, start bonding, right? Because this is, you're getting to the point now where, it's starting to get really important that these players come together.
Nate and I talked about that on Monday, about the conspiracy theory that's going around with the USA men's national team in that specific situation.
Fair enough.
To what Mauricio Pochettino had to say, he's just telling American fans, this is almost like he's planning, he's like putting up these walls before the game even happens, because he wants to make sure that the flood walls, that is, that that we understand that whatever the final score may be, to what you just said, JT, and it is secondary to what their plans are at the moment. Like, again, winning is whatever, but if we're considering this, which is, it is in a lot of ways the preseason, because again, these games, the results of them don't matter at all. We're already qualified. He's just getting American fans to the point to where he's like, you guys just have to realize, okay, we are figuring stuff out in real time, because there are a lot of moving pieces when it comes to this roster. I know that we talk about, we know who the best players are. We know where they should play. It's easy to say that, but right, like, life is not a video game. Like, there are, you don't just like, I'm going to plug and place this player. Like, you got a lot of things to consider, right? And so, you have your list of players that you're looking at. Matt Turner coming into the this international window. How does he look? Okay, right. He didn't really play a whole lot overseas. You know, that career, at least that part of his career, flamed out. Came back to the United States. He's been playing a lot more, but he's had issues in goal at certain times. I mean, he's been making certain silly mistakes in terms of, you know, distribution issues. I mean, he's had some giveaways and some bad breaks, and we just haven't seen him in a U.S. men's national team uniform. So how does Matt Turner look? Because he was our guy in 2022. You know, another name that I'm looking at, obviously, is Anthony Robinson. You know, how long does it take him to get back to full health? And when is he going to be ready to go? I understand having him in the clubhouse to talk to the guys and be around everybody. But again, knee injuries are just kind of, you never quite know with knees. I mean, knees can be really, really fidgety. You look at someone like Haji Wright. There's been no better, more consistent striker over the last 2 months that has been born in this country than Haji Wright. I mean, he has been Mr. Consistent the last couple of months with how he's played. And so we need to see, you know, I know that we have Flo Balogun, and we said that far and away he's our striker, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case, if Haji Wright can show us something, if he can show us some life. So I think that position is still in relative flex. I don't think it's set in stone necessarily. And then Diego Luna is another man that I'm looking at. Diego Luna has disappeared in against bigger opponents. He was great against Guatemala. He was great against some of the smaller countries, but as an attacking midfielder, he disappeared in big matches. And if Mauricio Pochettino sticks with a 3-4-3, I just don't know where Diego Luna slots into that mix. I mean, he might still be on the roster, but I don't see him as a starter. I certainly don't see him getting significant minutes. I know he was kind of our golden child during the Gold Cup, but I just don't know if he's ready to take on that bigger competition. I'll give you one more here, right? Christian Pulisic. It is wild to me that Christian Pulisic, it has nearly been a year, a full calendar year, since Christian Pulisic has scored a goal with the United States. Now, right now, he is leading Serie A in goals scored. So we have this, right, this excitement, this buildup, but can he do it in American uniform? I would love to see it during this window, but it all depends, again, on how they decide to go in terms of the formation, because they tried out that 3-4-3 against Japan. It was great. Obviously, they played Pulisic out wide. Now, you guys have been talking about how you don't like him out wide. You would rather him be kind of our guy up front. But I would love to see him at least rip the net once during this window to show that whatever that magic he has going on in Italy right now can translate over to this team. Because that, if anything, is going to instill the most confidence, I feel like, in American fans. Like, we got to see Captain America show up and do what he has to do. So there's my list of players that I'm looking at. And I imagine Mauricio Pochettino is probably going through the same thing right now. Like, we still have to do our homework. And there's still some players that are yet to either lose positions or get their positions. I think Matt Turner could easily lose his. I think Diego Luna could easily lose his. I think Haji Wright could earn a position. Anthony Robinson's a question mark, and Christian Pulisic has to show us signs of life. That's what I'm looking at coming into tonight.
Batman needs a Robin, and we don't have a Robin for Pulisic. We talk about that. And the reason why he is doing well in Serie A is because he has a supporting cast. You know, he has a cast of players. Again, he is not the best player on that team. And so for him not being the best player, it allows him to let the game breathe. It allows him to have some of that pressure taken off of his shoulders. I think we've talked about Pulisic and what I don't think he's a player that has the ability to rise in those pressure moments and carry this team on his shoulders. He needs a player that can help him with that. He needs a supporting player. And again, if we are so right now, Pulisic is going to be he's going to be our point guard. He's going to be our builder, right? And so that means that he's more likely to have more assists than he will goals on this team, because who is the player that's going to feed him the ball so he can go do his thing?
Oh, I mean myself. You know who Christian Pulisic is? Because you just mentioned it. He reminds me of, well, he is technically a local kid, but he plays for one of our teams. Christian Pulisic is Dylan Larkin. That's exactly who he is. The captain, for one. You put Pulisic on a team with people around him. Pulisic and Dylan Larkin are not going to be a player that carries your team into a championship. It's just not. You put Pulisic in an environment where he doesn't have to be the best player. He can distribute. He can just kind of be himself. He doesn't have to take on that leadership role, a.k.a. Team USA and the Four Nations hockey team for Dylan Larkin, a.k.a. AC Milan and Chelsea. That's what Pulisic is. Pulisic is not going to take over a game at the international stage for the U.S. He might take over a game in the Champions League. He might take over a game in Serie A because that's just how the AC Milan team is right now. They're a better team. Pulisic does not have to be the best player on that team. He doesn't. He just has to be himself and be active in that game. That's why he comes off the bench and scores goals. That's literally why he does that in AC Milan. I don't see Pulisic taking over a game. To be honest, Pulisic to me is a Robin. He's not a Batman. Whether we make him out to be a Batman for the U.S. men's national team, and he's just not. He is a Robin. And I don't know why we're going on this tangent right now, but he is a Robin in the grand scheme of things, and we're making him out to be a Batman when he's not.
Yeah, I mean, and again, in this environment, he most certainly, unfortunately, is Batman because there isn't another better player, right? And so, and you can't have your best player be a supporting role player. You just can't do that, right? So you would need to have another player who is of equal caliber to Christian Pulisic, and we don't have that right now. And so he's going to be a builder. His role is going to be to create opportunity that will lead to other players having success. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as we're okay with understanding that he's not going to go out and score 7 goals during the World Cup, but he will hopefully lead, to 7 goals through assists or through, because he is a player that demands, double teaming. He's a player that's going to require players to take a note of him. What that's going to do is it'll force other players who will now become open, and he has got to do his job to find those players. And so that's his role. And again, could it change? Yes, but you would need to have like a Zendejas, a Balogun. You would need these players to step up in ways that they have never stepped up before. And so.
We're honestly, the USA right now is what the Lions used to be with their old wide receivers outside of Calvin Johnson. We made Golden Tate, we made Marvin Jones, forgetting of another Kenny Galladay. We try to make them out to be wide receiver 1s when they're like really wide receiver 2s. But again, sorry with the Detroit comparisons, but this is just what's coming to my head. But quickly, I mean, I know we're a little bit late, but I know we want to touch on this. But the USA versus Ecuador game taking place tonight. What exactly do you guys want to see? Again, John, get your joke out of the way about what's on the graphic, but what do you guys want to see tonight from the USA? And knowing that we won't be on air, what do you want to see against Australia?
First off, Guzman is in there.
Guzman.
We always used to joke around by calling Guzman. But yes, Guzan is
we got
not
Fabian
on the team
Johnson
anymore.
on there. We got Graham Zusi. We got Kyle Beckerman. We got John Brooks. Again, I was just going off the last time we played Ecuador was back in the Centenario back in, I think, 2015. We beat them, I think, 2-1 or 1-0. But I just chose the last photo we had.
I think I was giving you crap this morning. I think it's great. So what am I expecting out of this game? First off, obviously, if we would be doing our jobs, if we say go out and win, right? Go win the game. More importantly, I think for us is what we have noticed from teams that we've been calling you and I, Ryan, lately here locally, is decisiveness and dictating play, right? What we are as a nation, especially against some of the better teams, is a team that allows other teams to come to us, allowing, and ultimately from there, we then go into that transitional game, right? Where, and in a lot of cases, we've all even outpossessed teams and still lost games. So for me, I do want to see us dictate more play tonight, like we did against Japan. We dictated a lot of play against Japan, and we saw some success there. Obviously won that game, but to me, the success is in the possession and opportunity that comes from that possession. So that's one of the things that I want to see tonight. And the other one is I do want to see some of the players who we aren't expecting to make this roster. And again,
Tanner Tessman.
Yeah, Tanner Tessman, right? Aluna. I don't think Luna's going to start this game. But again, if Luna has a chance of making this team, it's going to be coming in off the bench in the 83rd minute and to provide some kind of a spark. So when he comes on the field in the 83rd minute, he has to create that spark.
Be that high-energy motorboat.
That's right. That's right. Whoever said that, that's a terrible quote. But anyways, but yeah, that's what I would expect. And then ultimately, I think for me, I would like to see Matt Turner start this game tonight. We've seen Matt Freese over the last couple of months. We see what he's capable of. I at this point actually feel right now, just based on how he has played over the last 3 months, and as part of the Gold Cup as well, that he has put himself in a fighting chance to be that starter, right? And so now it's Matt Turner. Can Matt Turner come in, and what does Matt Turner look like? How does he handle this back line? How does he lead the way? I think that we needed to see that right now from Matt Turner. And so I would like to see Turner start in this game. Again, that's probably not going to happen, but that would be my expectation from tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on all of it just a little bit ago. I mean, we have to see Christian Pulisic do something. In terms of scoring the goal, I know he had an assist in that last international window. He looked good. I thought he was in good form, but it'd be nice to see him rip the back of the net, and I think American fans would love that. It's bizarre. It's so weird to me that he hasn't scored a goal with the Americans since November of 2024, but that's it. I mean, we're almost coming up on 1 year, the anniversary of the last time Pulisic scored, and I think it was against Jamaica. I don't know. It wasn't against a top opponent, but the other thing is, I mean, I want to see what Matt Turner presents. I want to see what Matt Turner brings. I mean, can he have a signature moment? Like, those are the things that you look back on when you make some of these decisions. Is Matt Freese has delivered a signature moment. I mean, that those PKs against Costa Rica, like, that kind of put him on the map in terms of, oh, okay, like we have someone in the works that might be taking over that spot if Matt Turner can't prove that he belongs to be there. So 100%, I want to see him on the field. I want to see what Haji Wright can do. Flo Balogun's a great option as a striker, but I would like to see him start tonight. What does Haji Wright bring to this team because of what he's done over the last month and a half? And again, I think Diego Luna's another name on there as well. He has to show up in big games. I like the flash. I like his story. I like his attitude. What he said about mental health once upon a time. JT, I know you weren't on that episode, but Ryan and I got to chat a little bit about his mental health journey and everything. Very inspiring, very cool story. Obviously, he's a personal favorite of mine, but can he actually show up in a big game against a big opponent, against someone who's notable in the soccer world? Not someone like Guatemala. No offense to Guatemala, but again, it's just that shouldn't be something that we hang our hats on. So that's all that I'm looking for. And again, in the window, do we see Anthony Robinson once on the field? I mean, he's just there's a lot of question marks there, and it's concerning the longer that timeline continues to move along. And again, the knees are just fidgety. Knees are not. You don't want to mess with knees. So how does that all look? Those are kind of my takeaways, at least my list of players that I'm looking at in this international window specifically.
For me, what I want to see in this window is obviously Tanner. I'm just kidding. I do want to see how Tanner Tessman does. I do want to see him in a game and see if he really has an opportunity. I just want to see if he has an opportunity to, really make a name for himself and try to make this roster and get called up again. And for the goalkeeping situation, I do want to see Matt Turner. I know you alluded to the point earlier, Nate, about how he, is back in the MLS. That is also because when he signed for Lyon this summer,
oh yeah,
Lyon got effed in terms of money situation. They were in debt by so much money, and they had to get relegated a division. I believe that's what the exact story was, but they got messed up in a really big way, and Matt Turner got caught up in the whole mix of it, so he had to come over in the MLS. But again, the goalkeeping situation is something that I really want to see. I kind of want to see Turner start a game, and I want to see Freese start the other one. Whatever game does not matter to me at all. I also want to see who's going to be the center back next to Chris Richards going forward. Chris Richards has already established himself as CB1, not cornerback, center back 1. Whether that's a Cameron Carter-Vickers who's in this camp, whether that's a Miles Robinson who's in this camp, Tim Ream is also in this camp. I want to see who's going to put themselves next to Chris Richards in terms of the World Cup. Midfield. Games are won and lost here, and Tyler Adams, who I believe is expecting a kid or something like that. That's why he's not here in the October camp. And obviously, Tyler Adams will be our number 6 going forward. Weston McKennie will be our number 8. But I want to see who's going to be that missing third midfielder, whether that's Malik Tillman at the number 10. I personally want Christian Pulisic as the number 10. That's what I want to see. However, I don't think that's how Pochettino wants this to happen. I don't think John Him and I are in agreement on that. But if Pulisic's not going to be that number 10, I want Malik Tillman to be that number 10 going forward. He's played that role. He's a creative player, and I want to see Tillman on the field. I think he can make stuff happen. And then for the forwards, who's going to be the backup striker? There's no Josh Sargent on this. We see Ajuman from Little Rhodey, who's on this roster. We see Haji Wright also on the roster, as Nate has alluded to. And I just want to see who's going to take that next step. Who's going to change the game play, because those strikers are way different than the way Balogun plays. And we talked about unlocking Pulisic, and I think that hold the play. We mentioned that on the Oakland broadcast yesterday, John, of holding up the play and distributing it, spraying out wide. I think that's a way you can unlock Pulisic. But again, my last thing is of what I want to see is I want to see 2 wins. I want to see 2 wins, 100%. These are games that we should be winning. And in terms of the World Cup, we could see in Ecuador, we could see a team like Australia in our group, but they're going to be in that 3rd spot. So in terms of how the groups come out, there's going to be a group 1 or a number 1 seed, quote unquote. We'd be the number 2, and this Ecuador and Australia game would be a 3 seed. And that is where we can get out of the group if we win that game, and if we drop points, we could not be in that group. I want to see 2 wins. Both of these teams are ranked 24th and 25th in the world. We're currently 16th. I need to see 2 wins. I don't care how it happens. I would like to see a little bit more possession-based. I want to see them go at them. But in the end, 2 wins out of 2 is all I'm asking.
Yeah. No, I like all what you had to say. Again, when it comes to the creative aspect of this, and we talked about Christian Pulisic being in that number 10 role, I do believe that's where he needs to be. And again, especially if you're talking about when you start talking about teams wanting to shut down Christian, it's going to create opportunities out wide, and we are a good team out wide. If we can get the ball out wide to our outside backs, in case obviously Robinson's not playing in this game, at least we don't think he's going to be playing in this game tonight. He is a dangerous player out wide. And so it would force players to attract players into Pulisic in the middle of the field, which would create opportunity out wide, and that would allow us, I think, to be the most dangerous. But they're great points, and I think now we need to talk about prediction-wise who we think is going to win here tonight and who we're going to win against Australia on the forward team. It's coming up here on Tuesday. So we sure could, yeah. Is that okay? I didn't know if that was. We don't know the question of the day because Ryan just comes up with it. So I guess that is the question of the day.
Turn your mic on, young man.
Or else I would have to make a dumb point again, make you guys argue about something dumb, and I'm not even listening to you guys because I'm trying to come up with question of the day.
Clint Dempsey.
Exactly. I don't even know what you guys said. I just random. All I know is you would disagree with what I had to say, so I just said it so I could buy myself time and be like, "What do you guys think of the Tigers?"
Clint Dempsey didn't come from a poor place.
Smart man.
You don't know where I'm from, dog. But no, that's what I had to do. But that is gonna be question of the day.
Well, we'll get to that in a second then. Real quick here, I want to dive into this because we talked about it during our pre-show. We were here in the studio about Argentina hosting Puerto Rico here on the 13th. And the game was originally supposed to be played in Chicago at Soldier Field, but due to the crisis of immigration in Chicago, this game is being played at the Inter Miami Stadium, which obviously is also home to Lionel Messi. The biggest thing that I was kind of questioning was why is this game being played in the United States at all in the first place? You've got 2 teams who do not call the United States home, and here they are playing here in Chicago, now Inter Miami, down in Miami. And the reason, from what we could gather from Argentina, is that they wanted to prepare for the World Cup by playing in American stadiums. I
Sure.
don't understand that concept.
Sure.
I guess if you want to acclimate, I mean, you do. Hey, if you want to get in cold water, you got to splash yourself a little bit to get acclimated. I guess that's what Argentina wants to do here as well. They want to get acclimated to the environment, as if somehow they don't know what playing in big stadiums is all about. They did just win the World Cup here, a couple years ago. So, but either way, that this game being moved here on the 13th because of the immigration crisis, and I don't know, to be fair, if this is a crisis because what we have found in her, because obviously soccer is a huge sport worldwide, is that like in LA at Galaxy games, ICE was literally going to games and snagging people from the crowd
Wow.
who were illegal aliens. And so that was a real thing. It is a real thing. And so I don't know if that's it, because right now there is the National Guard that's gone into Chicago to help with get things under control. And is that a factor? Is that what's happening here? Like, I don't know.
I just realized we have the World Cup next year. Are we going to have this under control? Like, are we going to have people spending thousands and thousands of dollars at these games and then just get picked up? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I know that they've talked about moving games. Canada said, hey, we'd be happy to take more games. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
And that to me seems like the bigger issue here. Like, this example is obviously that's disheartening, the fact that they have to move this game, and I understand the fears and why they would want to move it. And I mean, you talked about it, JT. Like, soccer is an international sport. Like, you're going to bring out people from all over the map to come see this game, and people that have ties and this, that, or the other. So they're, I understand the want to move it, but my biggest question mark is, is this a sign of what's to come on down the line when the World Cup is finally here in the United States? Like we have to, like, that's the most troubling part about it to me. Is this going to become a trend, right? Because as you mentioned it, like, we've seen Canada open up themselves to host more games. Now we have this game being moved because people are uncomfortable. I'm just saying it could get really, really messy really fast.
They wouldn't move a football game. And so Chicago, they would not move an NFL football game because of this. And so I actually think this is more posturing than anything else. We see a lot of it. We're seeing it all across this country right now, where people are just like sticking out. You know what? I'm gonna just fight for fight's sake, and no one wants to work together on trying to solve a problem. It's just we're gonna fight it, or we're gonna move it. I don't know. And again, there's been this conversation that's taken place within the world of soccer right now about the World Cup next year and about moving stadiums. I've heard the Prime Minister in Canada talk about it. If they want us to take games, we'll take more games. It's all posturing right now. Because, again, NFL stadiums are full of fans who I would imagine would probably fit the same pedigree. And so if it's truly because of that, they're not canceling football games, and they're Soldier Field. And so, again,
on time.
I know, right on time, right? The biggest thing I think for me is, one, we talked about this in a previous show too about going to local soccer games. You're finding that ICE agents are going to local soccer games, UPSL games, and Midwest Premier League games, and they're grabbing players off the field. We've heard about that, and as much as you like or don't like that scenario, I mean, again, we've heard of some over the years. You've heard of stories of deadbeat dads who didn't pay child support. They get a letter in the mail saying you've won a car, come pick it up at the dealership, and then they get taken off and handcuffed because that was the only way they could get them into pay, and get them arrested. And so there are things that are being done across this country that you may or may not agree with as far as how you're going to go pick people up or whatever it might be. At the end of the day, they're doing what they're going to do, and if you're going to go, again, if they're going to be there, they're going to grab them. I don't necessarily agree with that method, but if it's successful, it's successful. The thing for us in regards to moving this game, was it the right thing to do? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Chicago has been a kind of a bad sore spot, for the last number of years because of the gang violence and murder rate that's been going on in Chicago. And so I think they have a lot more bigger problems to deal with in Chicago than a soccer game being moved. But if it helps with that current situation, then I guess I understand it from that perspective. But yeah.
Let's get into Nate, you got anything to say?
There's a lot of fear in a lot of people, and I understand where that level of fear is coming from. So while I think maybe some of it is posturing, I do think there are real concerns when it comes to kind of our current state of where we're at right now. Again, regardless of whether or not you agree with it or not. But
yeah. I think the posturing is not from. It's from the I think there's fear from people, like the people. I'm saying the leaders, the leadership.
Oh yeah,
is posturing.
Yep.
I don't think, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's the posturing is coming from people who are in charge, not the ones who are in fear. I think that's an important, because again, the average person wants to go watch this game.
Right.
They purchased tickets to go watch this game, and now they don't get to do that. And I don't think that Miami has any less of a fear Miami. So I think what it comes down to, from my perspective, again, the posturing is more at that leadership level. That's all my point was.
Fair.
Let's dive into this question of the day.
Yeah, let's get into question of the day. But before we do, Salt Athletic, an official sponsor for us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Visit saltathletic.com today. Oh, scan that QR code. But this is going to be a twofer because we don't have the shows at all next week. But question of the day is, give me your U.S. men's national team score predictions versus Ecuador tonight and next week against Australia. For both games?
Which one?
This one tonight.
Both
I'm going
games?
with the first one. You said first.
Okay,
the first
first
one
one.
tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
2-1
right.
U.S.
Okay.
I was like,
Sorry. 2-1. What?
no, I just thought that was
We're talking
fun.
about tonight
He
first.
just
I
gave
figured
you
we'll
two
do the
games. You
first
put
one.
up one.
Well, I'm not going to put up both. We're going to do one at a time.
I'm gonna go with 2-2 tonight.
2-2. I'm going to go 3-1 USA.
All right, look at you.
And then
Have we been keeping
Australia,
track? Do we-
which we'll wait. Oh.
Ooh, look at that. I am going to go with USA 2-0 against Australia.
I'm also with that one, Nate. 2-0 against Australia.
Well, there you go.
2-0.
So we're all picking wins.
No, Nate picked a draw.
Oh, that's right. Nate
Nate did have
Yep,
the draw.
that's right.
He
Matt
had the,
Freese will be the one to get the
like,
shot.
He likes
the
kissing
clean
his
sheet.
cousin. As the saying goes.
All right, Ted Lasso.
That's what they say, right? Draw is like kissing your cousin. So, all right. With that being said, though, that wraps up to this show here, number 177. We mentioned we are not going to be here next week. We are going to be handling the NISA Pro Cup, which is starting here on Monday, the 13th, coming up here, 9 a.m. kickoff. We're bringing you that live here all week long, and we couldn't be more excited. Again, those games kick off starting 9 a.m. here on Monday, at noon, at 12 and 2:30. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a blast here. Looking forward to all these games and more. We'll be back, obviously, the following Monday, what's the 20th. We'll have our first show back. We will not have a show on Tuesday, the 21st, because that will be the finals.
Yay.
And so we'll have those finals coming at 11 a.m. on the 21st of October. But for all of us here at the National Soccer Network and Inside the Game, I want to thank you for stopping on by here this morning. We'll be back here on Monday the 20th for number 178.
Hold on, before we go, we have reached 67 viewers on TikTok. All right, that's all for me.
67 viewers or 767 followers?
No, we've reached 67 viewers of the show today. That's a great number.
Boom. Oh, my gosh. This guy. Anyways, that's Ryan Annoying Glinsky off to my left. Nathan Wangler,
My
the
dad
man.
would agree.
I'm Jonathan Turner. Maybe we should end it with the way it started, like this. Just kidding. Have a great rest of your Friday, a great weekend. Go Detroit Tigers tonight. Go get that win. Go U.S. men's national team over Ecuador. And, hey, Lions, go beat the Chiefs here on Sunday night. That's right, the Lions. Sunday night on Sunday Night Football. We'll be back here for 178 on Monday the 20th. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.